Hi everyone, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets, and today I'm going to give you my review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and this is going to be after sort of about a week of having this phone. As you can see, I'm using the Samsung, what's the packaging for it, the official Alcantara cover case, which is a lovely sort of velvet feel. I really like this. It does pick up a bit of dust sometimes. The other case that I also picked up, which I got first, was a Spigen, and this is the liquid crystal case here. And I actually think this is a really good case. It's less than 10 quid, because you'll notice on the Alcantara case this bit's open, whereas on the bottom here it's not, and the cutouts are a nice good size as well. And this probably offers a little bit more protection, and the lips slightly higher. This does have sort of raised tip edges here on the corners, I don't even see that. And that part there is raised as well. But, you know, can't beat stylus, eh? So, I did have, if I grab this, iPhone 7 Plus product red. That's going to a new home. That's no longer my main phone. My SIM card now sits proudly in this Galaxy Note 8, but it hasn't been, it was quite a sort of cultural shock going from using iOS for a year to Android with the main SIM in the Note 8. The first sort of problem that I encountered was I'm on the network 3 UK, and they have Wi-Fi calling, as does EE, as does Vodafone and VoLTE and all that kind of stuff, but it's not built in to the Note 8 firmware. It is on the iPhone 7 Plus. So inside my house, I had bugger all signal because there was no Wi-Fi calling built into the firmware. Hopefully 3 UK, I think Vodafone has a problem. EE is the only network that has it included. So if you're on EE, you'll get it automatically. But I think it's piss poor, something that's flagship quality, flagship pricing, doesn't at least have what the iPhone does. So that was my first thing I noticed. The second thing is putting all my apps, obviously I review loads and loads of Android phones and have loads and loads of apps. Everything seemed a mess with the Samsung stuff and S Pen, Bixby. I'll get to Bixby in a moment. And I was just thinking, what have I done? Seriously, you know, the first 12 hours, I was not enjoying it at all. So I put it to one side, I thought I'd look at it another day. And that's what I did. Another day, tried to get some sort of system of it looking a bit more realistic. And, you know, I sort of have all the folders all nicely done now. And if you go into the app drawer, everything's tidy and organised. But that took a bit of time. And obviously when you set up the phone, you've got all your passwords to put in for all the different internet services you use. Got to log that in. I've got two-factor authentication, so it takes time. But one of the things that I did notice was that I'd lost iMessage, I'd lost FaceTime, and it's people that are used to using and getting hold of you on iMessage. I'm having to tell them, if you've got any media, you need to email it. So that's a way around that. There's no real sort of easy workaround for FaceTime, because it means other people installing other apps, and some people are just very reluctant to do that. But that's it. And also you try and get used to the fact that apps and services aren't as smooth, but hey ho. But one thing that I will say is that the iris unlock, so if I hold this up here and hold that to my phone, this is what it feels, so it is unlocked. Obviously it's on camera, I'm trying to do it at the same time, but it does work instantly. I also used a combination of smart unlock. I did have face unlock originally when I first set it up, but I didn't think it was secure enough. The iris thing is really much better than when I had the S8. For some reason, I think Samsung have done something to improve either the software or the hardware, because it does pretty much work, apart from obviously really bright sunlight. I think it struggles there. But actually, I'm quite happy using the iris unlock. Fingerprint sensor, I've set that up. It is quite difficult to reach, and trying to have your finger flat on it doesn't, you know, because some of the banking apps, for example, you have to authenticate with the fingerprint sensor. It's not ideal, but you know, you get on with it. Some other things that I've done which I quite like, the S Pen, I've got used to that. Live message, where you use the S Pen to draw these fancy messages, and I'll try see if I can embed them in the video. But what was the turning point after a good sort of 2-3 days of using this? It was the camera, and suddenly I took these photos of my dogs, and I will do a little small camera showcase of a few photos that I've taken to give an idea, and I'll also do a photo showing you how good the zoom is on this. As you probably have heard by loads and loads of people, the zoom lens also has optical image stabilization as well as the normal standard lens. And that makes, I wouldn't have thought that makes that much of a difference, but it does. It's huge difference, because you're not getting camera shake when you're trying to zoom quite far in. It stabilizes it fairly well, and you're getting really clear photos. So just even using the 2x optical zoom, you get shots that you wouldn't normally get. The camera is excellent, absolutely excellent. And my wife, when she was looking at photos of our dogs, she just couldn't believe. I mean, the first time you use the camera, you think you've got to get used to it, but the auto mode is just phenomenal, fast, accurate, first time, every time. And I got some of the best photos of my dogs I've ever taken, I think. I'll just give you a couple as again this camera showcase. So the camera, taking the camera and the versatility of the camera suddenly opened me up to, I'm starting to really like this phone. Obviously it's got wireless charging. Believe it or not, I've got, from my Samsung Note 4, the official Qi wireless pad, I still use that. And obviously the Note 4 is slightly bigger, the pad, so this is narrow, so it fits nicely. And at night, it's charged slowly over the Qi pad, and it's 100% in the morning. But what I've noticed is that Samsung paid a lot of attention to the software. And when you're using stuff and you're looking at things, there's just these little things you think, God, they've done that, they've done this. So, if you're thinking about, do I go iPhone X or do I go Note 8? They're two very different beasts, but for a lot less, I would say, you've got Face Unlock, Iris Unlock works fairly well. Will the iPhone X work better? Probably, but this works fine for me. The screen is the next thing that blows your mind, because when you look at, let's unlock that a second. So when you look at stuff, so if I call and get a photo up here, and so to show you something. So that's, I don't know if you can all see that. That is a photo I took, and it just looks breathtaking across this wide screen. And Samsung have done a really good job of expanding apps and software to fill this whole new screen resolution. So for example, when using Google Maps, there's a dot, where if you double tap the dot, it fills the screen and it hides the menu keys. And having, your sat nav, on the card with this, it's just amazing. It's so much more detail in it. And using the Samsung internet browser is really good, lots of extra functionality. So slowly as you work your way through everything, you're getting really, really impressed. The next thing is the loudspeaker. It's not loud enough in my book. The quality is okay, but it's nowhere near the volume and the quality of the iPhone 7 Plus. And that is one thing that's slightly disappointing for when I'm listening to podcasts. If I've got other stuff going on in the background, I will need to connect it to a Bluetooth speaker so I can hear it a bit more clearer. The good news is, it does have a headphone jack. And with my Sennheiser Momentum in-ear headphones and my Sony MDR 100 AAPs, excellent, really good. But the Sennheisers are particularly good with this. And 32-bit audio quality is superb. And I've connected this to an external amp DAC as well. And again, you get that quality through with the amplification. That is one way around it. I do like using the S Pen. It's a nice way, it feels nice interacting with the phone. Is it faster? Not always, but it feels nice and it's a nice experience. And it's nice being able to do precise things on the phone in terms of editing. But overall, so far, this phone has really impressed me. It was a bit frustrating at the beginning. There's a lot to set up. There was a lot to go through and I was getting frustrated, but soon the tide turned, the camera was amazing. Bixby was driving me mad at first. And you might think, oh, I've got to try and deactivate this. Bixby, don't. Do not. Set some time aside. You know it's not going to be as good as the other options. But I'm going to tell you this, Bixby is different. Don't try and make it do the things that, you know, you want it to do, like Google or Siri. You've got to think outside the box. Why do I like Bixby? Well, I press and hold the Bixby button here. I say to open photos. I pick a photo and I say, apply forest filter, and it just applies it. Or auto adjust photo, and it auto adjusts the photo. So it's that level of detail that it can do, where it can pick out individual menu requests or options across a number of different apps, and it is getting better all the time. And the more you use it, the more you spend time trying to train it, the better it becomes. But I'm telling you, it's not perfect. So you've got to have some expectation. But for some things, it's very useful. Obviously, using the Google Assistant, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant here. Really fast, really quick, and works very well. So you just use the combination of the two in the right applications, and suddenly you've got a very powerful voice control device. Controls my lights and everything else really well. So that's my initial sort of findings. I'm going to show some photos now. This is the Gear Fit 2 Pro, so I've got that. I also have the 360 Gear 360 2017, and that works very well with this. The stitching is way better than and the quality than using an iPhone 7 Plus with the Gear 360 2017. No surprises there, and there's more functionality using the Note 8. But that's it for now. I will have quite a few other bits and pieces. Now it comes the season of new devices, but I don't want to give you the same old nonsense that, you know, here's an unboxing, here's what's inside the box. You've seen that, you know what's inside the box. I want to give you how I really feel about the phone. And what I'm going to do is do another video with some of the tips and tricks that I found useful, not what other people have done where they've just gone off and just done a boring repeat. I'm trying to try and find something a bit more useful. Anyway, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Keep good, catch you guys soon, and boom.